For you travel across the sea and land to make a single proselyte. And when he becomes a proselyte, you make him twice as much a child of hell as you. Woe to you, blind guides, who say, if anyone swears by the temple, it is nothing. But if anyone swears by the gold of the temple, he is bound by his oath. And then Jesus really lets the Pharisees have it in verses 23 through 30 of chapter 23 of Matthew. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you tithe mint and dill and cumin, and have neglected the weightier provisions of the law, justice and mercy and faithfulness. But these are the things you should have done without neglecting the others. You blind guides, who strain out a gnat and swallow a camel. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! You clean the outside of the cup of the dish, but inside they're full of robbery and self-indulgence. You blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and of the dish, so that the outside of it may become clean also. Woe to you, Pharisees and scribes, hypocrites! You are like whitewashed tombs, which on the outside appear beautiful, but inside they are full of dead men's bones and are all unclean. So you too outwardly appear righteous to men, but inwardly you are full of hypocrisy and lawlessness. You see, the point of the gate, when Jesus says, I am the gate, is to distinguish between those who want to be and the one who really is. They may look the part. They might try to come in and say, yes, I am the shepherd. But on the inside, they are not. You see, the false teachers, just like the Pharisees, they would rather not go through the gate. They would rather come to steal and rob the sheep by other means and keep them from walking on the path that the shepherd leads them down. The Pharisees had been using their cunning to lead the people astray, and had been abusing their position so that they were the ones they followed, and they would not follow the true shepherd. They all did this because they wanted to betray the confidence of the people for their own gain. And so that is why they didn't get what Jesus said, I am the gate. Because they didn't realize that they were the thieves and robbers in the story. They probably thought that they were the gatekeeper. So now we turn our attention to the gate. Jesus said, I am the gate. As we talked about already, the gate distinguishes the shepherd from the thieves and robbers. But when Jesus was saying, I am the gate of the sheep, he was making another statement. Anyone who enters the gate will know the true shepherd and will be saved. Why did Jesus say this as he mentioned, I am the gate? Well, you see, for one, the people of Israel have had a history of wandering off and following false teachers, false gods, and other people who claim to be the anointed of God. We see it played out time and time again in the Old Testament. And we particularly see it with regularity in the book of Judges. And we even see it through the writings of the prophets. Even in Jesus' time, the people of Israel had a difficult time following the wrong people. They were prone to following the wrong people and following the wrong teachings, because they did not come through the gate. For example, we have Barabbas. Barabbas in Luke 23:19 is described as an insurrectionist and a murderer. And yet the people still wanted him in place of Jesus. For he tried to lead a revolt against the Romans, which did not end up that well because he ended up being arrested. And yet people still followed him. Then we have a man mentioned in Acts chapter 5, verses 36 through 37, named Thaddeus, who claimed to be someone. And 400 men rallied to him, and he led a revolt and was killed, and his followers scattered. Even shortly after Jesus' ascension, a man came to Jerusalem claiming to be someone, and led the people in revolt against the Romans, which ultimately led to the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. More importantly, people even develop a notion that you have to follow a particular person to be saved. Or you have to do a particular thing to be saved. That you had to follow someone to be saved. If you didn't follow them, then you obviously are not saved. We see this played out a little in Scripture when Paul is giving his references back in Acts 22:3. He mentions that he is a student of Gamaliel, who was a profound and prominent teacher during the time of Jesus. A very respected person. Even the Sanhedrin listened to Gamaliel. So that would have made Paul a very important person, because he was a student. Who you were taught by was extremely important for people. It gave you standing. Even Paul had to address this problem of people following a certain person. In his first letter to Corinth, in 1 Corinthians 1:12, he says, "What I mean is this." One of you says, "I follow Paul." Another says, "I follow Apollos." Another says, I follow Cephas." Still another, "I follow Christ." Yet we think this is a problem which the early church only had to deal with. Yet this is still happening today. We have people who believe that you are not truly saved unless you are baptized, or if you speak in tongues, or if you go to a certain church, or if you listen to a certain person. I even know several people who listen to a prominent church leader who say when the church leader says one thing, it completely causes them to reshape everything they do in their life. But Jesus is saying there's only one way, and that is through the gate. Only coming through me is the way to be saved, is the only way to enter the fold. It is the only way to enter eternal life. And it requires that you believe in me, and you go through the gate. Anyone else who tries to come but doesn't go through the gate, they're not me. And so this is what Jesus was trying to tell everyone who was listening. That you can have all these regulations, you can set up all these details, you can set yourself up to be important, but the truth is this: that it is only through the gate will the truth